Have you ever stared into a mirror and felt like something was staring back? Not just your own eyes, but something else. I used to think it was just a trick of the light, a figment of my imagination, but I was wrong. It all started a few months ago right here in my quiet little house in Ohio. My life was normal, predictable, wake up, work, eat, sleep. The mirror in my bedroom was just part of the furniture, something I'd glance at without a second thought, until the nights it started to change. The first time it happened, it was so subtle I almost missed it. I was getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth in the attached bathroom. I turned away from the mirror to spit in the sink, and when I looked back, my reflection was still facing forward, just for a split second, before it snapped to match my position. I froze, toothbrush in hand, my heart hammered against my ribs. I blinked, shook my head, and told myself I was just tired. It had been a long week, my eyes were playing tricks on me. That's all it was. It had to be. The next night, I was a little more cautious. I found myself watching the mirror out of the corner of my eye. I went through my usual routine, deliberately trying to catch it again, and I did. This time, as I turned to leave the bathroom, my reflection didn't just delay its movement, it held my gaze for a full second longer than it should have. Its eyes, my eyes, seemed to follow me as I walked away. A cold dread washed over me. This wasn't just my imagination, something was definitely wrong. By the third night, the dread had turned into annoying fear. I couldn't sleep. I'd lie in bed, staring at the darkened doorway of my bathroom, where the mirror hung. Every shadow seemed to move. Every creak of the house made me jump. I decided to confront it. I needed to know if I was losing my mind. I walked back into the bathroom, flicked on the light, and stood directly in front of the mirror. I stared, my breath held tight in my chest. We stood there, me and my reflection, in a silent standoff. Then, it happened. The reflection's lips curled upwards into a slow, deliberate smile. A smile I wasn't making. It was a wide, unnatural grin that didn't reach its eyes. Its eyes were cold, vacant, and filled with something I can only describe as malice. I screamed and stumbled backward, crashing into the doorframe. My mind reeled. This was impossible. It couldn't be real. I spent the rest of the night huddled in the farthest corner of my living room, the lights on, convinced I was having some sort of psychotic break. The next morning, shaking and sleep-deprived, I did the only thing I could think of. I called the police. I know how it sounds. Hello, $911. My reflection is trying to kill me. I didn't say that, of course. I told them I thought someone might have tampered with my property, that I was seeing things that weren't there, that maybe the mirror was some kind of two-way glass or had a hidden camera. I was desperate. 2 officers showed up. They were professional, but you could see the skepticism in their eyes. They examined the mirror, tapped on it, shone their flashlights behind it. They checked the walls, the frame, everything. Their conclusion was simple and devastating. "Ma'am," one of them said, "it's just a regular mirror. There's nothing unusual about it. Maybe you should try to get some rest." They suggested I was stressed, overworked. They were polite, but the implication was clear. I was crazy. They left, and I was alone again. Alone with it. That was the 4th night. The night everything changed for good. I knew I couldn't look at it anymore. I couldn't risk seeing that smile again. I grabbed the thickest blanket I could find, a heavy wool throw from my couch. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold it. I approached the bathroom doorway, my heart pounding in my ears like a drum. I took a deep breath, ran in and threw the blanket over the mirror. But as the fabric made contact with the glass, I felt something push back. A firm, solid pressure from the other side, as if a hand was pressing against the glass from within. I shrieked and scrambled out of the room, slamming the bathroom door shut. I could hear a faint, rhythmic thudding against the door, thud, thud, thud. It wanted out. I didn't wait to find out what would happen next. I grabbed my keys, my wallet, and my phone and ran out of my house. I didn't even lock the door. I drove to a cheap motel on the other side of town and locked myself in the room. I covered the mirror in that room with a towel before I even sat down. I stayed there for a week, calling in sick to work, trying to piece my life back together. I tried to convince myself it was all a hallucination, a terrible, vivid nightmare brought on by stress. Maybe the police were right, but I couldn't shake the feeling of that pressure against the blanket. The feeling of something real, something solid, on the other side of the glass. Finally, I built up the courage to go back. I had to. It was my home. I parked down the street and watched my house for a long time. Everything looked normal. The lights were off, no signs of a break-in. I finally walked up to the front door, my keys shaking in my hand. I unlocked it and stepped inside. The house was silent, eerily silent. The air was cold and still. I called out, "Hello." My voice echoed in the emptiness. Nothing. I walked slowly towards my bedroom, my fear returning with every step. The bedroom door was ajar. The bathroom door behind it was still closed, just as I'd left it. I pushed the bedroom door open, and my blood ran cold. Standing in the middle of my room, wearing my clothes, was me, or what looked like me. It turned its head slowly, and that same terrible, wide smile spread across its face. "You're back," it said, its voice a perfect imitation of my own. "I was wondering when you'd come home." It took a step towards me. I didn't scream this time. I was frozen in pure, absolute terror. The bathroom door was wide open now. The blanket lay in a heap on the floor, and the mirror was empty. There was no reflection, just the empty, tiled wall of my bathroom staring back. It had escaped, it had taken my place, and I was locked out. It lunged for me, and I turned and fled for my life. I don't know where I'm going. I'm recording this from a payphone. I can't go to the police. Who would believe me? They'd just think I'm the crazy woman who called about her mirror. But I need someone to know. If you see me, if you see someone who looks just like me, with my face, my clothes, my voice, be careful. Look at their eyes. And whatever you do, don't let them near a mirror, because the person you think is me isn't. The real me is out here, and my reflection is in there, living my life, waiting. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever experienced something you can't explain, something that made you question reality, let me know in the comments. And please, subscribe for more strange tales. Be safe out there.